Good morning, everybody. Uh, we will be talking about the non-conventional energy sources for the sixth semester. It is an open elective. So, basically, I can expect the people with a little basics or no basics regarding about this non-conventional energy sources. First of all, before I talk about this non-conventional energy sources, I would like to give you a brief introduction. What is this energy and how this energy sources will definitely affect the economic condition of a country. So for that, we know basically energy doesn't mean it means something to do work. Energy which is being required for doing some work is defined as an energy in a simple words. In energy, there are different varieties of forms of energies are there. Different types of energies are there. Starting from the food that we have to the petrol and diesel that we use it for our automobiles. Everything depends upon energy. Every life, every day, starts up with energy and ends up with the energy. Now, basically, this energy will decide the economical condition of a country also. So now, if you take a global scenario, energy is highly essential for the growth of the developing as well as the developed countries. This has direct impact on socio-economic groups of nations. The demand of energy varies from country to country. For example, Nepal, which is a small country, wherein which the requirement or a demand for the energy is less compared to the countries something like India and China. So energy requirement or a demand, it keeps varying from country to country, not only based on the population, not only based on the area, it is based on the requirement. An advanced country or it may be a developing country. Say, for example, if you take a Japan, which is a very small country, but they completely depends upon the energy. The demand is more for that. Is it clear? So the energy sources available are classified majorly into two sources of energy. Okay, the first one is a primary energy source. What do you mean by this primary energy sources? The energy sources which are available in nature, such as coal, oil, wind, solar, biogas, geothermal, ocean energy, it may be a wave energy or maybe a tidal energy, any form of energy which is available in the nature, primary energy. Coal that we use it for locomotive vehicles, coal that we use it for thermal power plants, oil it is from everywhere we depends upon all the automobile vehicles from aeroplane or rocket to our two-wheelers. We depends upon the oil, then the wind energy sources, solar energy sources, biogas energy, ocean thermal energy conversion systems, different types of various of energies which are available comes under primary energy sources. Some of these are directly used and some energy sources are indirectly used. What do you mean by indirect use? Say for example, I have a rice. Rice is also an energy. Do you agree or not? Rice is an energy. I will have it and I'll get the energy. In the same way, petrol is also an energy. If you put a petrol into the bike and if you don't start it, it doesn't move. Now I have a 10 liters of petrol in my car. Unless otherwise I burn it, my car doesn't work. Is that clear? So few energies are directly used as it is and few energies are indirectly used. It indirectly means after burning it. Say for example, even if you take an example, solar energy. Solar energy which is available in the nature, which we can take the heat and light directly. Is it clear? The same way, if you take a wood, I'll put a wood. Wood is a source of energy, but it doesn't give, it cannot be used unless otherwise it is being burned. Is it not true? So such kind of things comes under the category of primary energy sources. Secondary, what do you mean by secondary energy sources? Burning of fuel produces heat which is utilized to produce steam in power plant and the electricity is generated. So here the heat and electricity are termed as the secondary energy sources. Heat we are not as such in their nature. Electricity we are not getting as such in the nature. No, apart from this, just I would like to give an example. There are different power plants are there. One is a nuclear power plant is there, diesel power plant is there, and conventional coal power plants are also there. Every thermal power plant will produce what is an end product for that? It is an electricity. It is an electricity. Whether you go for a nuclear power plant, electricity will be produced. Is it clear? We will supply the heat, then the heat is been utilized to convert water into steam. Steam is a high grade energy. It is of a higher energy level. So the steam is being used to rotate the turbines. Is it clear? Now, maybe my dear friends, you might be aware of energy, law of energy. What does this law of energy state? Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. That means we cannot create the energy, we cannot destroy the energy. But what best we can do it is, we can convert one form of energy into the other form of energy. That is the beauty of this law of energy. Is that clear? So, according to this, the heat, whatever may be the energy is there, whatever may be the energy source is there, whether you have a diesel, whether you have a coal, or whether you have a the biogas, or whether you have a biofluids or any conventional fluid that is being burnt, and that heat is being used to convert into one form of energy to the other form. Heat is also an energy. So we categorize this heat and electricity as the secondary sources of energies. Is it clear? Here, if you see this uh, clearly, there are different sources. Look at that vertical way. The sources are coal, hydro means water energy, and then nuclear energy is there, natural gas is there, petroleum is there, and renewable energy is also there. How do you extract a coal from open or deep mines? We will extract coal from the mines. Do you know which part of India we get more coal? It is in the northern east, that is Assam, all those places where we get a lot of coal, which is of a higher demand in many thermal power plants. That how do we extract it? We extract it open or deep minings. Okay. Then hydro means water power plants. Hydropower plants we don't need to extract, it is available. Only thing is we will store it in a dams, so that what happens, we get a potential energy, higher potential energy of the water. That is the one major advantage of that. Then nuclear fuel also, we go and dig it out in the earth and find out in the mining. We extract it with the minings. Then the natural gas wells. Maybe petroleum and natural gases, we always get it in wells, and it is in most of the Iran and Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and those countries, they may not find the water, they find a good amount of this natural gas and petroleum in their wells. So that is how we extract it. Then the renewable energy sources. In the renewable energy sources, we have a number of alternative energies, which are something like solar energies, wind energy, biomass energy, then ocean thermal energy conversion system, then the geothermal energy conversion system. So they are all come under the category of renewable. When I go for the later part of the presentation, I will explain you what do you mean by a renewable and what do you mean by a non-renewable energy sources. Maybe if I am not wrong, you have already studied the basics of these renewable and non-renewable energy sources in your first year EME subject. But still, let us brush it up. Then how do we process these different energies? Say, for example, if you take coal, we get it from the mines, we prepare it, and we will send it as a coal to the steam and thermal power plants, or we also send it for the power stations. Once if you clean it or purify it, you will get it as a coke. Is it clear? Then hydro energy is directly sent to the power stations, where hydro energy, the energy which is being stored in the water, is being used for the conversion of potential energy into the electrical energy. Then if you take mining, enrichment, we will enrich it, and then we will use it in power station. Okay, maybe if you take any examples for the hydraulic energy sources, Almaty is where you have a hydraulic power plant. If you take a nuclear, Kaiga is the one plant wherein which you have got the nuclear power stations is there. Then natural gas, we will treat it and we will send it to the power station. Natural gas that we use it in. Natural gas is a bit different from the the methane gas that we use it in our domestic purpose. Don't get confused. Okay. Next, here it is. Petroleum from the oil, we will get it, we will use it, cracking and refining it. Cracking and refining, maybe you might have heard about it, petroleum products, petrochemical products. We don't get petrol and diesel as such in the nature. We will get a petroleum product, a semi-liquid or a liquid petroleum product, we will get it. We will go for a distillation process. We will go for a cracking and refining process. In that process, we will get a diesel, petrol, kerosene, white kerosene, and the end product may be a tar. So different products that we will get it once we start treating and cracking and refining these petroleum products. So the end products may be like this: liquid petroleum gas, that is what LPG stands for. Then the petrol, diesel, which they use it in the thermal power plants, and then petrochemical products that we use it in the steam turbine plants. Okay, now if you come to this renewable energy sources, where different types of renewable energy sources, we will convert it using certain devices. Certain devices, what do you mean by this certain devices? Say, for example, if I want to use wind energy, then I will use wind turbines. If I want to extract a solar energy, then I will use a PV cells. If I want any biomass, then I will use some turbines. So these are all instruments or devices which are being used to convert these renewable energy sources into the useful form. That is what we call it as energy conversion devices. Then the solar thermal, solar PV, wind generator or a wind turbine also we can call it as, then cook stores, gasifiers and biofuels. These are all devices from which we will get it into electricity. Is it clear? So these are all secondary energy. Secondary energy is nothing but steam, heat. Thermal means it is nothing but a heat. Electricity, once again steam, heat and electricity, everywhere it comes to be secondary energy sources. Is it clear what do you mean by a primary energy and what do you mean by a secondary energy sources? So this is okay. Next, further I classify into commercial and non-commercial energy sources. It is actually the name itself indicates commercial means all the energy, I mean non-commercial energy means all the energy sources which are available in nature like wind, sun, hydro and etc. Maybe ocean thermal energy conversion system or geothermal energy sources are non-commercial energy sources. That means they are freely available in the nature. Say for example, we are getting a light and heat from the sun. Are we paying anything for that? No. Getting a wind from the nature. Are we paying anything for that? No. So these available freely in the nature comes under the category of non-commercial energy sources. Biomass like cattle dung, agricultural waste, firewoods, etc. are used by rural people for burning purposes and solar energy for drying purposes. These are all also called as non-commercial energy sources because of, for the production of heat or energy technology is not essential. Point to be noted here. Now, please be careful. The non-commercial energy sources means any energy source. It may be a wind, or it may be a water, or it may be sunlight, or a sun heat, or it may be any agricultural waste or a biomass, which doesn't require any technology or any advanced method for extracting it. There we are all called as non-commercial. I'll give you one more example. If you take a coal, if you take a petrol, is it available as such in the nature? No, it is not. First, you should take a mining, you take a metals also. We will get raw material. I mean, we have to go for a mining. Then we will take it and we will extract it. We will separate the metal separate and we will the residual separate, then we will use the metal. So the same way, the petroleum products are also, it is not available as such in the nature. So what we take it is, we will take it as a petroleum product from the mining or a wells. I mean to say well, it is nothing but a mining that we are extracting. Don't mind saying the wells are also as a mining thing. We will take it, we will subject them under distillation and some processing, then we will get the petrol. Is it clear? So those comes under the commercial energy sources. I'll come to that later on. Now, if you take applications of solar energy, wind energy, hydro energy for electricity and lifting water from the ground, energy require energy are termed as commercial energy sources. It is as simple as that. Whenever you use some technology, an advanced technology or devices to utilize the energy, then we call it as a commercial energy sources. Is it clear? Okay. So this is a classification between non-commercial and commercial energy sources. Now this is the one actually, maybe you may not be interested, but still it's a part of the syllabus. You have to go through this. If you take this annual primary energy consumption, which country is consuming more energy? Say for example, if you take the United States of America, it is consuming 884, whereas the natural gas, it is consuming 594. Coal, it is 615. If you take at the bottom where India, it is using oil of 205.5 metric tons actually. This natural gas, it is 47.1 and coal 352, whereas the nuclear energy, it is so less. You just compare with this USA where they are using 83.8, whereas in India is using 4.1. If you make it in the list, it is the least amount of nuclear energy used by any other countries. It is in India. Okay, hydroelectric, it is 7.4 and renewable and the waste, it is 98.4. Overall, the primary energy consumption is 718.5. So there are some Russian Federation, USA, whereas developed countries, they are more consuming energies. Where you can see this China, maybe because of the population or maybe because of the industrial demand, they're consuming more energy. This is the world scenario. Is it clear? No, though the Japan country is so small, less than the size of Karnataka, but still, if you compare this energy consumption or the energy that is being required for this country is more compared to any other countries. When you compare with the ratio of energy consumption with respect to the area of the country, is it clear? This is a primary energy consumption for different countries. It not only depends upon the requirement or the energy technology they have it, it is also depends upon the sources which is available. If you take whether it is the USA or any other countries which has been listed over here, they don't have a oil wells. Most of the oil wells are in Saudi Arabia and Arabic countries. I mean to say Arabic countries. It may be a Qatar, it may be a Saudi Arabia, or it may be Iraq or Iran. Those countries have got a very rich oil wells where they extract more. We import that and we will export the other energy sources which are available plenty in our country. Okay. India's energy reserves. This is one. The Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, Government of India, it is as per the statistics of 2012, has produced the following data. If you take a crude oil wells, from the oil wells, we always get a crude oil. From this crude oil, we will extract petrol, diesel, and any other kerosene, or it may be any other petroleum products. The crude oil which has been limited to 757 million tons meter cube. Okay, whereas the natural gas, which has been limited to 1,241 billion tons of meter cubes. The main fossil energy reserves in India are 286 billion tons and 41 billion tons of lignite. These are available in eastern and southern belts of the country. If you take a nuclear energy, mainly uranium 235 and 238, can fuel only 10,000 megawatts pressurized heavy water reactors. India depends primarily on uranium to run the reactors, whereas thorium is also another source for nuclear energy which runs in fast breeder reactors. I just will come to that later on when we go for nuclear energy sources. I'll explain you with a neat sketch. How does it works? What do you mean by fast breeder reactor and what do you mean by how it is being extracted? Renewable energy sources, the capacity addition in renewable energy sources was about 27,300 megawatts in 2012. If you take a coal, capacity installed in megawatts by 2012 is coal, it is 11,202 megawatts, whereas the hydraulic power or a tidal energy, it is 38,990. If you compare to the other renewable and gas and nuclear, tidal energy power plants are more. Even in Karnataka, there are in different locations actually. Even it is in the Almaty, it is in the Shivana Samudra. Okay, different locations we have got this harnessing of this hydro energy sources. Okay, hope I am audible now. Okay, India's installed power generation capacities. Thermal power generation, we depend more than 50%, which is 54.4%, whereas the hydraulic power plants, we have a 21.60 percentage, whereas the renewable energy sources, it is very limited. My dear friends, though it is many people have got a doubt why this renewable energy sources it is free of cost, but still people are not going for this renewable energy sources. That is the solar energy. It is only because renewable or non-conventional. It is only because the cost of the equipment is one of the major reason for that. And the second one is the efficiency is not high as compared to the non-renewable energy sources. And majorly, this renewable energy sources, we don't get the higher capacity of energy when compared to the conventional thermal power plants which operate on coal and petroleum products. If you take a gas, installed power generation capacity is only 10.10, whereas the nuclear is very least, which is of 2.7%. So the total renewable energy sources becomes almost 33%, including hydraulic power plants. Plan-wise grid connected renewable energy contribution is given in the table. If you can check this, wave energy, it is less than 100 kilowatts per meter square. Extraterrestrial solar radiation, it is less than 1.35 per kilowatts. So wind, it is less than 3, and solar radiations, it is zero point 0.2. You can see this. If you go for a geothermal energy sources, it is 0.00006. That is 6 into 10 to the power of minus 5 kilowatts per meter square. That is the capacity or an extraction. Now everybody wants an instantaneous energy. People like a fast food rather than the conventional food. It is only because it is more tasty and fast. So the likewise, even in the energy extraction also, you get energy instantly when you use a petrol. The same petrol, instead of a petrol, if I give you wood, how much time it does requires? Isn't it? If I give you solar cars people don't prefer. They only prefer the petrol cars. It is only because the capacity is more, huge power, and instantaneous. Whereas the solar cars, can you expect the same capacity? No, it is not possible. Is that clear? So that is the reason why behind of this. The one. The final energy consumption. The final energy consumption is the actual energy demand at the user end. This is the difference between primary energy consumption and the losses that takes place in transport, transmission, and distribution and refinement. If you take this electricity units, it is related to only India, not any other countries. If you take the span of 1994 to 95, 2001 to 2, 6 to 7, and 11 to 12. Statistics. Earlier, you just check this, the demand or the energy sources that was utilized for the electricity in the billion units, it was 289.36. What is the present or the latest one? It is 1067. Almost 5 times it has been increased. Oil, if you see this oil, it is a 63.55. It was in 1994 and 95. In 2011 and 12, it has raised to 196. Almost it is 30% more increased the demand. Is that clear? So because of all these things, there is a more demand for the non-conventional energy sources. Non-conventional energy sources can also be called as renewable energy sources. The growing consumption of energy has resulted in the country becoming increasingly dependent on fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and gas. Rising prices of oil and gas and their potential shortages have raised uncertainties about the security of energy supply in future, which has serious repercussions on the growth of the national economy. For this one example, I would like to give you. Maybe you are aware or not. Nowadays, if you want to construct a house, you have to take a permission from the concerned authority. And there, one of the restriction is you have to go for a solar water heater or a solar lights so that you will be using a non-conventional energy sources. A part of energy it is being utilized. Is that clear? That is the need for NCS. Increasing the use of fossil fuels also causes a serious environmental problems. My dear friends, to be frank, if you use a petrol, it pollutes. If you use a solar energy, it doesn't pollute at all. So that is the one reason that is the environmental problem. Hence, there is a primary need to use renewable energy sources like solar, wind, tidal, biomass, and energy from waste material. They are called as non-conventional energy sources, and they are also called as renewable energy sources. Okay. Now, I just will continue for the rest of the things. Okay. Now, if you take this primary energy, sources, it's an isotropic dissociation at the core of the Earth. Gravitation pull of planets, thermal energy conversion, it is a geothermal, condensation rain, melting, atmospheric movement, wave movement, sea currents, heating of Earth surface and the atmosphere, and bioproduction, tides. These are all which have been used for converting these form of energies into thermal energy conversion. Energy conversion process, geothermal power stations are there, geothermal stations are there, then we will convert it into electrical and thermal energy. Condensation rain. Rain also been utilized to convert electricity. How? Rain is a water source for everybody. So this water will be stored in the dams and then it will be used to convert electrical energy. Then the melting, glacier power station, wind energy converters, wave power stations, sea current stations, thermal ocean, different conversion stations will be there from which we will be getting electrical energy and thermal energy and then chemical energy also. The food that we have it is a chemical energy, my dear friends. And these petroleum products are also come under the category of chemical energy. Is it clear? We have rice or chapati or whatever the food, it is nothing but a chemical energy. Is it clear? So in the next class, I'll give you an introduction. This is all the basics. In the next class, let us talk about what are the energy sources, how they are classified, what do you mean by renewable and non-renewable energy sources. Then we will get into the actual non-conventional energy sources.